Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Monday, August 8th Selectmen's meeting. With us tonight, we have our recording secretary, Kelly Biggos, our town manager, Tom Wooden, and Selectmen Trish Warren, Wendy Wolf, myself, Denise Griffin, Mike Tomko, and Russ Hoffman. So we will start off our agenda with town manager announcements. Tom.
Thank you. Just an update, the tax bills were finalized and went out at the end of last week, and the mill rate remains the same as it was last year, as it's still at 11.2, so there was no increase in the mill rate.
Woo, that's excellent. Good.
The first installment is due September 8th, and the second installment is due March 9th of 17. And the only other thing I was going to bring up is what you were just talking about the tennis court, the basketball court relocation. The end of last week, this was sent around saying that given the revision to the parking lot, those courts can be oriented either parallel to the street or as they were originally proposed at an angle. And before Lauren Stockwell and Steve LaBerge continue on, they'd like the board to make a decision which angle they want those courts at.
Do you have the previous angle?
Did I bring it tonight? No. The other angle is just parallel to the court.
Well,
Sure. Parallel to the street.
Well,
Yeah.
I have some with me. That's not enough.
Yes.
That was the price list. Oh, well, maybe not. I just have like the old original.
I just wasn't sure the last one that we received,
Sure.
what was accurate or not.
This is from 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
having parallel to the
Right.
Townsend Avenue.
But they're two different drawings.
So you can do either way. You just need to know which angle you want it at.
To be honest, we had originally thought the angled thing was sort of more aesthetically pleasing. When I look at both, I frankly can't tell a whole lot of difference with how it will look from the road. Most of us will not be using the aerial view of the courts unless we're hang gliding. I think our original proposition was to angle them, and I just would assume we probably would stay with that unless there are other compelling reasons. But I really, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
I think one of the benefits to the north-south orientation is the sun, too.
Right.
That it wouldn't be in people's eyes.
Right.
And that's the angle orientation.
I've never understood that argument. It's the sun, it's always in the sky.
Rises in the east, sets in the west.
So when I play at sunset or sunrise, it's better? I just don't understand
If you're
that.
facing west, you're going to get the sun in your eyes late in the day. If you're facing east, you're going to get it in the morning. This way it's up to your side.
But in the
Yeah,
rest of the day.
you're on the perpendicular.
Yeah.
The only thing I noticed this is from 2 weeks ago, and this is
Well,
from
that's true.
tonight,
Look at that.
the two differences. It looks like the angled version actually cuts off a little bit of the green space over here on one side. I realize you can't see this, but, which is the whole goal.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we leave it the way that it is, it's just horizontal, straight, you actually are having more greenery, if you look.
Let's see.
So it looks like this is cutting off here, but it's not here
Yeah,
in particular, so you're having more greenery.
yeah. I know our overriding goal was really to enhance the aesthetics of the area. So, and I think green space and the landscaping, we're trying to make it a visually pleasing thing in this area for people driving by or people using the facilities. So if there's more green space in the sort of squared orientation, that might fulfill what we really want as our highest priority. I'm just trying to
These
remember the
are also going to
conversation.
be very low profile because they don't have fences.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah,
pavement.
Of course.
So you're going to be hard pressed to see it.
Yeah, I'm okay with the north-south approach so long as we go with this landscaping and parking lot
Yeah.
design.
Okay.
The new, what he's drawn in now.
If we were to vote, I would vote for the parallel to Townsend Road arrangement.
See, one of the issues that's hard is this didn't include any of the plans.
To be technically correct, the angled version is north-south oriented if you look at the directional.
That's right,
So,
that's what I said.
I think
okay.
that's what Tom was saying.
I guess I don't play enough basketball to know that it matters.
Well, I thought you preferred the other approach. I'm confused now.
At this point, it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I'd just like you to pick one so we can keep moving. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, we told them that was not the right design, so.
I don't have a vote, so it didn't matter.
I'm confused.
Is this a fence line? What is that?
I don't know, I can't see because it's a small scale.
There's no fencing.
What is this dashed line?
The one that sort of goes through the,
Yeah, it kind of goes from the bottom of.
Well, I see it, yeah. I don't,
Are you talking the one that crosses over Emery Lane?
No, I'm
Are you talking about this one?
That goes from
yes,
where it
he is.
says Sherman Field sign
Yeah.
to the
This one here.
basket.
He's showing where the underground power is.
Oh, okay, okay.
There's a outlet over in that corner.
I mean, it seems to me that the orientation parallel to Townsend Road leaves us a little bit more space between the court and the school access road to do something with. We've talked about the possibility of a playground or something in the future, so it just seems a little bit more efficient use of the space.
I would agree because you kind of have the area on the angled north-south alignment behind the basketball and pickleball courts being kind of left out, whereas Russ says it provides more space to the north on the aligned with Townsend Avenue. I'm with Russ, I like the align.
I can be persuaded to change my, as I said, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. I can go with the squared up version. So I think we have 3 of us for the squared up version.
You want to take a vote?
I'm good with that.
I'm fine.
Yep.
Is that a motion?
I move that we, hold time. We did something 2 weeks ago. We voted on,
We actually,
Doing the angled version.
yeah,
No, actually, you voted on doing the parallel version.
Parallel.
So that's what you currently
That's
still
right.
have.
right,
we-
so,
So you can just keep that.
right, but this is what we asked him. We asked him.
Right, we asked for
we
the
didn't
land,
vote last
the
time
parking
on
lot
vegetation.
detail.
We voted on, okay, so if I have to,
It's really this.
I
This is
move that we adopt the current vegetation plan and the pickleball and basketball court orientation of the plan from 2 weeks ago.
Right?
aligning with the roads, basically.
Parallel,
Townsend
the
and
arrangement
Henry.
parallel to
Yeah.
Townsend Road.
So
Okay.
this structure, and then, I'll second that then.
Right? Okay, and more discussion? Okay, all in favor? All right, great.
Great, thank
This
you.
is sort of like a Groundhog Day basketball.
So I assume he's going to redraw.
I think he has 2 sketches already.
He probably
ready to
does,
go.
but I don't
Yeah.
think we've seen them,
Probably,
so,
yeah.
okay,
He's any good, he does.
90.
yay. Move forward. Thank you.
Yep, that's all I have. That was enough, right?
Okay, wonderful, great, moving on to financials. Julia?
Okay, you have before you your revenue and expense sheets. Total revenue year-to-date, $158,539.64. Total expenses year-to-date, $645,943.57. And as Tom noted, we have sent out the tax bills, so we are beginning to receive payments. So you'll see the revenue increasing within the next few weeks. The accounts payable for this evening is $389,654.33. And the bank balance is $1,705,159.45. My audit began last week, and so they're coming back again tomorrow, and I should be getting some final figures shortly. Did anyone have any questions?
Great. Good, thank you. Okay. So, I didn't go to my mailbox today, so is it likely the tax bill is in there?
Well, they went out to the printer on Thursday, so.
Oh.
Yeah, I
All
haven't
right.
received mine yet.
No,
Okay,
I
all
was
right.
gonna say,
All right, so maybe
I would
later
say
this
by
week.
tomorrow or the next day they should be coming.
Gotcha.
People are coming in and asking for the figures that are going back home for the winter.
Wow. I didn't know people were that anxious to get them.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
Can I
great.
ask Julie a question?
Sure.
Yeah,
On the warrant recap, Julia, there's $1,350 listed under repair and maintenance for the fish pier.
Yes. That's actually, we had to do some work over to Atlantic Edge. And I think is it Harry Crooker there?
Yes.
Yes. We had to pave his floor.
Yeah, the inside of this.
there were a few,
floor is all cracked.
There were a few housekeeping things that needed to be done that we've had to address.
Great, okay, thank you.
Did you want to, we're skipping the selectmen reports.
no, because I can't read.
No.
All right, no more financial questions? Then we'll go back to the selectmen reports.
I'll just give a brief note that the marketing subgroup for the Economic Development Committee is still working with Green Tree Events, and right now they've developed some draft sort of logos for the Boothbay winter event that they've passed around to the committee to be commented on. And so far what we've seen looks nice. I'm not sure when it's going to be sort of publicly revealed, but they are moving along apace, and I think there are plans for them to come and have a more detailed presentation in September to the entire committee to give us an update on where the sort of marketing and events planning is. And the other thing I wanted to note is, economic development is a lot of things, a lot of individual contributions and business contributions, and just want to give a shout out to the Lobster Bowl, which Coach Tanner Grover pulls together and brings lots of people into the area. It's a growing event, and I was hearing from some townspeople about the crowds that are attracted to this, and how these are all things that spur economic development. So just a shout out for those individual efforts. So that was it, just a brief report.
Right, thanks. Good. No other reports, so seeing none, we'll move on to approve the minutes of the July 25th meeting.
I will so move.
And a second? Okay, all in favor? Okay. Great, minutes have been approved. So we'll move on to, I think we had one license request. So we have a special liquor license request from the yacht club to extend their liquor license to serve alcohol for a special party for one day, August 13th, at their adjacent property located at 150 Western Avenue. So, can I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve.
Okay, and second?
Second.
Okay, and then, so we'll go to discussion, and anybody from the audience have anything to say? You don't have to say anything,
We
but,
would appreciate it being approved. Thank you.
okay, great.
So, I have a question. This is the request. The letter?
Yeah, they already have their liquor license, they're just requesting to extend the area for the one day, just like they do.
Oh, this is a this is not a time extension,
No.
just
No.
a boundary
This is about,
extension.
Right.
yeah,
One time.
just like the co-op does for the Stoney's motorcycle race, they always put it out into their parking lot.
Yesterday, I think.
Our liquor license allows us to serve within the confines of the clubhouse. And because this is in an area approximately 100 feet away, we need to ask for permission, and hence the request.
Okay, great.
Uh,
Any other questions?
Well, no, I just, since I'm a member, I'll recuse myself from voting, so.
Okay?
Okay, great. Anybody else? Questions, comments? No? All right, all in favor? Okay, so it's 4 and 1 abstention.
Thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
There you go.
So, okay, old business. Do we have any old business?
I'd love for us to just have a follow-up conversation on the endless yard sale ordinance discussion. I've had some continued comments that have come my way about, the fact that we have the estate sale still going on in the main downtown district. I did stop in and talk to Jeff, which is, I think, one reason you all got an email from me sort of summarizing the discussion about the fact that there are lots of people that have sort of lawn events, and I think there's some different nuances about who needs to get a license for an extended lawn event versus encouraging and letting people just have short little yard sales or things that don't require licenses. I think we don't want to do things that make yard sales impossible to do without having a license. On the other hand, I think we should have some limits on how long people can carry on activities like that, but our codes don't provide for that. The other element of that is there are community groups like the library and others that have events on their lawn, and so the question is, how do we distinguish between things like that may occur temporarily, say over a long holiday weekend, and the other sort of extended yard sales that we're talking about that go on longer than 3 days. I did have a call from a business owner asking if the code enforcement officer had been over to chat with the property owner. And to my knowledge, that has not occurred yet, and if there is a violation of our ordinance, that's probably an appropriate thing to do, to go over and at least talk about the, what was it, the peddling and...
Hawkers and peddling. He's currently not violating any of our ordinances. The hawkers and peddlers would apply if someone were selling merchandise for 10 days, we can charge them $100. If they want a yearly license, we can charge them $500. But they could still do exactly what they're doing. I mean, they could put it right out by the street.
Right, well, this has gone out for longer than 10 days, so
Yeah, this
probably
case,
they need to talk about a hawker peddler.
Well, I think that's why Jeff has asked for the board's direction, because if he enforces it on one, he should be enforcing it on all, and it would impact people in the library, it would impact Grovers who put stuff out, Salty Dogs that has stuff out on the sidewalk. A lot of these things have been just let go because it was good for economic development and it wasn't worth chasing down. But I think he wants some guidance, since our ordinance at this point doesn't address it, as to how you want him to enforce it.
Tom, is that 10 total days, or is it 10 consecutive days?
I think the way it's written is 10 days in a row. This is also hard to keep track of, too. I mean, I don't know how Jeff would know whose yard sale started when and ended when. He's not going to be out driving and looking for that. So that has to be factored into the decision.
Yeah. I think that Jeff brings up some really valid points, and I think personally, I think this is a topic that needs to go to the planning board for discussion, because I think it's more complicated than, it's just not simple, number one. Number two, I'm not maybe you all understand what the issues are, but what the real issues are with this endless garage sale are not 100% clear to me. And I think we need to understand what the issues are if we're going to have a meaningful discussion about it.
Well, the complaint that's been levied to me, expressed to me, is that it detracts from the appearance of our main street. So,
Yeah, our downtown business district.
right.
Wow.
So,
I think that's a bit, I'm not saying I'm for it, okay? But when you're talking about detracting from appearance, that's very subjective.
Sure.
And I'm not sure how any particular zoning ordinance is going to address that.
I know that in my work in the planning board, we refer to the definitions, and there are no definitions. So I think as you suggested, that it's something worth having the planning board who does this do some research and be able to give us some guidance. And then also, as you say, identify what the issues are. Is it aesthetic, or is it economic? Which is actually, what are the core issues at the core?
Yeah, and I think it would help us clarify also, I think the examples we had in the last selectmen's meeting from the other towns, I think were very instructive about how to define this, temporality, how long is reasonable, et cetera. And, my perception is that gives us a chance to have public comment from both businesses and others about how do we differentiate, say, a extended yard sale from, a legitimate business that is, this is part of their display or whatever. But I do think there is a difference. And if we want to promote the downtown and we want to promote a good visitor experience, then I think that's a conversation that we need to have.
is it a business?
As far as I know, we're
Yeah,
talking
but
to
this-
Jeff,
it's a
it's
yard
not.
sale.
It's
Is it-
a-
but
It's a
is it
state sale.
a residence or is it
It's a
a
business.
business? It's a residence.
It's an apartment building, I believe.
Well, it's a residence that had the nail shop in it last year, and then,
Ice cream.
Polly Ice Cream
Oh.
the year before, and in that basement area, so,
Then it has also been apartments before as well.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I do think the planning board should take a whack at this, try and give us some guidance, so. And my perception is, and I'd love to hear from the library, that they rarely have something that goes on longer than 3 days at the library, because I don't think the library either wants to have endless
Yeah.
stuff happening at the library lawn either. It's used for a variety of activities, so I don't see anything that's going on prolonged there. I think the question about, okay, where do we draw the line for businesses that put things out on the sidewalk versus a private landowner who puts things out on their residential area, that's a little bit harder to
And
work
in
out,
either
so.
case, if this particular individual decided to start his own business, since we don't have buffering and screening requirements down there, he could do exactly what he's doing. But, I mean, those are things that would have to actually be put into the ordinance as far as, if you are going to have something outside, how close to the road can you be? How much of the sidewalk can you be on? Things like that. 'Cause we don't have anything terribly clear on that. And so, what I've heard most often is that it just doesn't look good. It's unsightly. And like Denise said, yes, that's subjective, but it's hard to make an ordinance just in regards to that it doesn't look good. We're going to have to make it more encompassing than that, I think. And I think when Bill Hamlin was here a couple of weeks ago as vice chair, he said, yeah, this is something they should probably look into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we make that sort of a formal request from us for them to look into that, so?
If
We
you
certainly
vote on it,
can.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
We certainly can. And I think that's what we should do, so
Does
I'm all for that.
Would you like that in the form of a motion?
Sure, that'd be wonderful.
Then I will make a motion that we request the planning board review yard sale, estate sale,
Garage sale.
Garage sale.
and like events, and suggest definitions and applicability in the different sections of our town.
That's good. And a second?
We'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Time frame to get back to us?
Well, in time that if there is any code that could be on the warrant, so.
For the Springtown meeting
Yeah.
would be
With the
ideal.
goal.
That would be ideal, yeah. So,
So did you add that to your motion?
Yes, let's.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended.
I'll accept the amendment.
okay. All right, any more discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Thank you. I
They
appreciate it.
have a little chore. Jeff and the planning board.
May I ask one other thing about old business?
Yeah?
Is there any updates on the paving?
Oh, the fixing of the pump, the
Yeah.
recess.
No one's asked me about it since the last meeting, so I don't have anything prepared.
I think it's been done.
We were doing it back 2 weeks ago, so.
I don't, it looks like it's complete. Atlantic Gap fixing, you mean fixing Atlantic Gap?
It's fixing
The catch basin.
Yes,
Yeah.
catch basins on Union and Atlantic. Yeah. They are much better
Okay, good.
than they were, so. Good. Okay. Great. Good. Anything else? Any other old business? No? Okay. New business? I don't have any new business here on the agenda. Is there anything else?
Well, I think we're going to hear some in public forum.
Okay, but nothing on the agenda. Okay, then we'll move on to public forum. Does anybody have any public forum items? Open it up to the floor. Yes, sir.
Yes, Dwayne Pinkham. I'm a lifelong resident of Boothbay Harbor and have lived at 3 Harbor Heights for over 40 years. And on behalf of my friends and neighbors, we would like to express our concern with the detouring of the traffic that takes place during the lobster run that took place yesterday afternoon. I think if most of you people probably are familiar with Harbor Heights Road, it's a very narrow road, a couple of turns in it, and it is just not equipped to handle that volume of two-way traffic. People are in our driveways, going on our lawns. We had one rear end event. We have the trolley going down through twice and back twice. Lisa had her flower bed run into. She also couldn't even get into her driveway. When she got there, there were 2 or 3 cars packed in her driveway, and she had to go up to her friends at Bay Street and walk to her house. Whereupon she was quite nervous about the traffic coming very close to her husband's very valuable Porsche racing car. And we have spoken to some of the police officers, and they say, well, if you could come up with a viable option, then we'd be glad to work with you. And we certainly feel that a very viable option would be to take the traffic that is rerouted up through Sprucewell and down Crest Avenue, to have them take a right onto Lobster Cove Road and then go up around Park Street. That at the very least would eliminate the two-way problem. So we certainly would like to have you consider that as a reasonable option to the solution. And even coming the other way, I guess they block Atlantic Avenue at Bay Street. So what has been sent up Bay Street also is detoured to the right, so we get them coming both ways. I don't want to slough it off onto our neighbors on Summit Road, but if they took the left there at Summit Road, and basically we're going one way up to Park Street, then that would eliminate a lot there too. Don't know if Lisa would like to add or not, but.
Hi, good evening, I'm Lisa Best. I've been a summer resident for 29 years and lived on this little road with the wonderful Mr. Pinkham. And it's just a one-lane little road. It cannot handle two-way traffic. And I think it's wonderful that the town embraces the motorcycles coming to town. My daughter used to sell lemonade when she was a little girl, and I think it's great for commerce. However, I walked down, I had to abandon my car and knock on a few doors and see if I could leave my car on someone's property because I couldn't get home. And then there were 3 cars in my driveway that were avoiding accidents. So I went out onto Harbor Heights and just said, okay, everybody just stop. And I got the 3 cars out of my driveway and got them down the road. But it's a one-lane road. And I went down onto Lobster Cove Road, and there was a pylon right after the church. Now, people in the motorcycles park on Atlantic Avenue, and they park in the church parking lot, but they really don't come down Lobster Cove for the parking. It suffices. So there was a pylon there, and then there's a pylon right at the corner of Lobster Cove Road and Harbor Heights that says detour. So it is very clear that they want them to come up Lobster Cove Road. Well, on the Harbor Heights, excuse me. On the flip side, on Bay, they've got it's a one-lane street. So they're running over my flowers, and they took out some lady's little fence, and and we had an accident. And Mr. Pinkham, unfortunately, was not spoken to very nicely by someone of authority, and I just think that's sad. I just think that if these cars were to continue down Lobster Cove Road, past Barrett's Park, and take a left and go Park Street, all those roads are 2-car accessible. So let's just extend it a little bit and not come up a road that there's only 8 houses on. When I have to abandon a car and then get home and there's 3 cars in my driveway and 2 of them are elderly and they're very flustered, I felt bad for them too. So, I just helped them out. But maybe that needs to be addressed, is where the pylon and where the detour sign. It's very simple, just go down the road and go up Park Street. Then it's two lanes all the way. So all of a sudden you have a 1-lane road for 3 hours turning into a 2-lane road. And the trolley, nothing against the trolley man, but he was taking out trees and taking out branches and big scraping noises. Our little street can't handle the trolley. So maybe someone could come over and look at Harbor Heights and just assess that for next year.
Well, I appreciate what you said because I experienced firsthand exactly what you're describing. And I agree, it's not meant for 2-lane. No, it was ridiculous. So at the minimum, it should be temporarily be one way if they make some kind of a more circular.
Yes. Or just go down a little bit.
Right.
And then they can.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We need to ask Chief Osh to reevaluate options for next year. I think.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you
So,
very much.
Sorry.
just so I'm clear though, your suggestion is that they go up Park Street?
They go past that, keep going down Lobster Cove
Keep
Road.
going past the
Barrett's
church,
Park.
past-
No. I understand that they block Lobster Cove Road from Atlantic Avenue up past the Catholic Church parking lot for the motorcycles to park,
Yeah.
which is fine. But the traffic, I guess, coming from like Browns and Spruce Point is routed, I would say, up Sunset, I'm not positive, and down Crest, and then they shoot them across Lobster Cove up our road. When all they would need to do at the foot of Crest would be take the right down on Lobster Cove past Barrett's Park and go up, take the left on Park Street.
Well, I
agree. I think the
we just
request
need
is,
to ask.
as you stated, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, the businesses that are open, or that may have been open Sunday afternoon between Bay Street and Lobster Cove on Atlantic Avenue, I don't know that they got very much business, because if you were in a vehicle, you couldn't get through. I mean, well, you could have physically gotten through, but the officer wasn't letting anybody through.
I mean, I
So,
agree, it's a good
right.
idea that Chief Bosch talked
So,
to Dwight,
right.
Mr. Dwight Pinkham about his recommendations and see if they can come to something that works
Something,
for everybody.
right, and there may be other solutions, so it just needs a
Yeah,
little bit of.
they just need to revisit it and have
Yeah.
a more feasible rerouting of traffic that doesn't use a very small little road for so much volume. And also consider, if there is that much volume, having some additional officers available just to help guide traffic and prevent the fender bender or the rear end. Might be warranted if that's a
Right there at
big event.
In front of my driveway, there's a big turn, and you really can't see the cars coming in the other direction, past the houses or anything. So they'll come in from Bay Street and start to turn the corner, and all of a sudden, here's a whole line coming the other way. And what happened, the car in front braked and the car behind it bumped it, or I've had them into my driveway they come, and by the time they stop, they're inches from my vehicles parked in my driveway, and it's kind of interesting to say the least.
Yeah, well, yeah. And if you lived on Spruce Point or were at the end and wanted to leave, I mean, want to leave, the area you want to leave.
Does anybody know if the reasoning behind that route is there a reasoning?
Chief
No.
Bosch will know.
Yeah, it'd be great.
According
if Chief
to-
Nash could come
according
in.
to
Maybe there's
Officer
something that we're
Higgins.
missing along the way too.
Well, I mean,
Or there's
this-
something he's
These
activated.
road races and bicycle, motorcycles coming to town is very difficult for
Oh, for sure.
the police department to manage, because it's right in the heart of the downtown, right in the heavy tourist season. So I'm sure Bob agrees with you that there's times where it doesn't work out well, but, I mean, the bottom line is, let's get the parties talking together
Yeah.
and work out something that works.
Exactly.
Bob's gonna have to talk to you
Try
about his
something.
staffing requirements and things like that, and that's fine. Let's open that dialogue.
Right. Maybe trying something else next year, see if it's better. So, great, thank you for bringing it up.
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks for coming and sharing that in person.
Thank you. Sorry for your encumbrance.
Okay, so the next item, if there are no other public forum comments, the next item on the agenda is the warrants.
I'll move to approve the warrants.
And I will second.
Okay, all in favor? Approve the warrants, and it's been passed. Okay, so next item is an executive session. Do you want an executive session tonight?
We did want
We
to
did,
Yes,
talk about
yeah.
we intended
Good,
that.
are we all ready to do that then? Have an executive session under the personnel section of 405, blah, blah, blah.
I gotta lift.
605A. I don't know.
Can't make it up. Yep. All right. Yep, Title 1, 405, executive session, chapter 13, section 6A.
That's pretty close.
Excuse me, can I ask a quick question? Will we be able to pick that letter up tomorrow morning in the offices so we can run it up to Augusta for approval and
Yeah,
issue?
you wanna just
I
sign
can
it?
get it ready for him now.
Yeah,
if he wants to.
yeah.
I'll go take a copy for him. If you guys just want to sign it
I
really
mean, they've
quick.
already approved it, so that's fine. yeah.
Happy to.
I'll get it ready for you.
All right.
Do you have the letter?
I have the original here. It's on their colored stationery if you want.
Well, I was just going to shut the camera.
Do we need to sign it? Sorry, any interruption?
They approved.
There's no place to sign
Okay.
there, they just
You want
voted
me-
on it.
I'm just going to take a copy of it and we can take it.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks for coming.